A model husband of 5 years of marriage pushed a 100 million yuan equity transfer document in front of me. He said, "Zoe Shen, let's get divorced. She lacks a sense of security and I must give her a legal status." Early the next morning we booked an appointment with a lawyer to go through the formalities. That night, Milo Ju did not come home all night. He chartered an entire cruise ship to celebrate his newfound freedom with his soulmate. Meanwhile, my phone screen lit up over and over again. "Have you finished the procedures? I'm waiting for you downstairs. Zoe, my arms will always be open for you. Sis, you promised to buy me a drink once you're single." Under the continuous drizzle, Milo Ju and I sat in the VIP lounge of the Civil Affairs Bureau. Noticing the moisture on my coat, he subconsciously pulled out a tissue, intending to wipe it for me. Seeing this, the clerk smiled and handed over 2 relationship mediation forms. "You two get along so well, why not think it over again?" "No need. Process the divorce directly." The clerk froze for a moment upon hearing my words. During the routine inquiry about the reason for divorce, Milo Ju remained silent. I tactfully helped him out. Incompatible values, long periods spent apart. Anyone with eyes could tell these were just polite excuses. The real reason was that Milo Ju had met his muse, the woman who rekindled his passion. She was a private painter he had hired at a high salary. He accompanied her on sketching trips, attended art exhibitions with her openly, and even spent a huge sum to bid on her painting at a star-studded charity gala just to make her smile. He had fully become her safe haven, shielding her from wind and rain. As for me, my reason was simple enough. I found something tainted utterly disgusting. Watching the marital status being cancelled on the system, the clerk continued to persuade me dutifully. "I'm in a hurry. Please stamp it as soon as possible." The cold urgency in my voice finalized the last procedure instantly. Half an hour later, Milo Ju and I each received a divorce cooling-off period notice. He tugged irritably at his tie. "Zoe Shen, it's raining too hard. I'll drive you back to the gallery." Before I could refuse, Milo Ju opened a black umbrella, sheltered me half under it, and escorted me to his Maybach. I reached out, ready to pull open the passenger door. It suddenly dawned on me that this seat no longer belonged to me. In the end, I ignored the man's instantly stiff expression and sat calmly in the back seat. The car glided steadily into the rain curtain. Even through the rear-view mirror, I could tell Milo Ju, "You looked unusually relaxed today." I told him to turn off the car aromatherapy. The cloying rose scent churned my stomach, making me feel nauseous and on the verge of retching. The man handed me a bottle of mineral water from the storage compartment. We had known each other for 7 years and been married for 5. He knew perfectly well I never got car sick. "Zoe Shen, I will personally go apologize to your parents about our divorce." Milo Ju still couldn't break the habit of taking charge of all my affairs. He had not always been like this in the early days of his entrepreneurship. Back then, Milo Ju was talented yet constantly ran into setbacks. At investment summits, he was often forced to drink until gastric bleeding by wealthy capitalists, leaving him covered in vomit and in a wretched state. It was I, a fiery-tempered wealthy young lady born with a silver spoon in my mouth, who stepped into the drinking party in high heels after learning he had survived on instant noodles for a whole month just to buy me limited edition paints. I splashed a glass of wine straight in the investor's face. "I, the Shen family, will invest in Milo Ju's project." It was this move that turned Milo Ju from a down-and-out entrepreneur into today's billionaire tech tycoon step by step. Back then, I regarded Milo Ju as a promising prospect, yet he used gratitude as an excuse to pick me up and drop me off from work every day, insisting on proposing to me with all his assets. Later on, we really got married. Milo Ju became my unbreakable shield in life. With him around, not a single man in the elite circle dared approach me. On the day we registered our marriage, Milo Ju took me to the first villa he had bought. By the floor-to-ceiling windows, he covered the entire room with roses. He held me tightly, his voice trembling. "Zoe, marry me. I swear I will never let you suffer any grievance." At that time, I smiled and nodded in agreement. Yet now, faced with Milo Ju's hypocrisy, I did not even bother to lift my eyelids. "Mr. G, you no need to trouble yourself. I will comfort my own parents myself. My overly formal address made Milo Jew unconsciously grip the steering wheel tighter. In the deathly silent carriage he suddenly let out a cold laugh, and asked how I planned to divide the marital assets. Seeing me closing my eyes to rest and ignoring him, Milo Jew's tone turned mocking. Zoe Shen, don't. Tell me you regret it now and want to use your elders to pressure me. Feeling his sharp gaze on me, I finally opened my eyes and glanced at him through the rearview mirror. Oh, right. Just focus on driving carefully. The road is slippery on rainy days. I had no intention of getting into a rear-end collision with this scumbag on my first single day, about to live a wealthy life. Sensing the perfunctory tone in my words, the man pressed his thin lips tightly together. Milo Jew's phone suddenly vibrated, and the name Nora Lynn flashed on the screen. Milo Jew paused for a moment and answered the Bluetooth call right in front of me. A delicate, weak young female voice echoed inside the car. The girl sobbed to Milo Jew, saying she had broken a glass cup and cut her finger, which hurt terribly. Milo Jew glanced at me, seeing I did not even frown, then comforted her anxiously. Don't be afraid, Nora. Press the wound with gauze first. I'll be there in 10 minutes. After hanging up the call, there was no need for Milo Jew to ask me to leave. I pointed to the subway station ahead and said calmly, "Pull over. I'll get off here." As soon as the Maybach came to a stop, I pushed the door and got out. Milo Jew stepped on the accelerator and sped away impatiently. Watching the taillights disappear into the rain, I felt chilled all over. Unable to bear the dull pain in my left ear any longer, I leaned against the bus stop sign and squatted down. 3 months ago, Milo Jew said he had an urgent contract left at home. I grabbed the contract and drove to deliver it to him myself. On the way, an out-of-control dump truck crashed into the rear of my car. Though the airbag deployed and saved my life, the violent impact and flying glass shards caused severe damage to my left eardrum, leaving me at risk of deafness. Covered in blood that day, I called Milo Jew more than a dozen times. None were answered. I later found out that Nora Lynn had said she was in a bad mood and wanted to see the aurora. Milo Jew abandoned a negotiation worth hundreds of millions and flew straight to Iceland with her. He was completely out of contact for 3 whole days. I swallowed all my grievances. In the end, it was my best friend Eleanor Sue who accompanied me through the repair surgery. After months of treatment, my hearing finally recovered by 70%. As for the man who abandoned me when I needed him most, I had given up completely. I took a taxi back to my apartment alone and poured myself a glass of red wine. I had just taken a sip when messages from Eleanor Sue flooded my phone. "Zoe, haven't you two got the divorce certificate yet? He actually chartered a cruise ship to celebrate that green girl's birthday." Eleanor Sue sent a photo of Milo Jew holding Nora Lynn in his arms watching fireworks on the deck. Recognizing the cruise ship as the Zoe, which Milo Jew had bought to celebrate our 3rd wedding anniversary, my stomach churned violently. I rushed straight to the bathroom and threw up all the red wine I had drunk. In a flash of realization, my face turned deathly pale. Early the next morning, I went to a private hospital. Staring at the ultrasound report in my hand, the doctor said gently, "Ms. Shen, you are 11 weeks pregnant." I stared at the report for a long moment and said calmly, "Arrange the abortion surgery for me as soon as possible." During the first 3 years of our marriage, Milo Jew wanted a child more than anyone. He even bought a school district property in advance and decorated the baby room into a dream castle. Yet no matter how hard we tried, I never conceived. Now that I was finally pregnant, it had become the biggest irony of all. This child had come at the worst possible time, and I would never keep it. As soon as I walked out of the consultation room, I ran straight into Milo Jew, accompanying Nora Lynn to get her hand bandaged. I tightened my grip on the test report and tucked my hand deep into my coat pocket. The moment Nora Lynn saw me, she shrank into Milo Jew's arms like a frightened rabbit. The man's eyes turned cold instantly, his brows furrowed tightly. "Zoe Shen, are you stalking me?" Before I could speak, his tone grew even more impatient. "Since we've already decided to get divorced, please retain some dignity. Nora is timid. Don't go frightening her." His blatant attempt to shift blame made me laugh out of anger. To keep him from finding out about my pregnancy, I had no desire to argue. I merely curled my lips faintly. You overestimate yourself, Mr. Ju. I'm just here for a stomach check. I'm leaving now. I had only taken 2 steps forward when a clear male voice came from behind. Zoe, seeing doctor. Leo Ju in a white medical gown with a tall figure walking toward me. Milo G's expression darkened completely. Leo Ju, what are you doing here? Leo Ju was not only the youngest chief physician in the hospital, but also our senior from university. Leo Ju did not even spare Milo Ju a glance. He walked straight up to me, his tone familiar and concerned. How was the review of your left ear? Do you still have tinnitus? I smiled and thanked him. Thanks to you, senior. My hearing is basically unaffected now. Remembering I had not replied to his WeChat message last night, I was about to explain when Milo Ju cut in abruptly. A review for your left ear? Didn't you just have a minor car crash with only a few skin scratches? Milo Ju only knew I had filed an insurance claim for the accident, but he never knew I had stayed in the intensive care unit for 3 whole days. In truth, if he had cared even a little, he would have noticed I had been subconsciously asking people to stand on my right side to talk these past few months. Unfortunately, he had been too busy playing the role of Nora Lynn's savior. He had no time left for me. My physical condition is my personal privacy now. I looked at him coldly. Mr. Ju, don't forget we are still in the divorce cooling off period. You are overstepping your bounds. A look of incredulous gloom flashed across Milo G's eyes upon hearing this. Just then, Nora Lynn stepped forward suddenly, her eyes red as she bowed deeply to me. She wept bitterly as if suffering great wrongs. Sister Zoe, all the fault is mine. I know you hate me, and I even persuaded Brother Milo to return to his family. If you're angry, you can hit me or yell at me. Please don't stay upset with Brother Milo. Faced with this textbook green tea act, I remained completely unruffled. First, my mother only gave birth to me alone, so don't claim kinship randomly. Second, the garbage recycling station is just downstairs. You two are perfectly matched. I should thank you for taking out the trash. Why would I be angry? Seeing that I didn't throw a hysterical fit like a wronged wife, Nora Lynn froze on the spot. She then clutched her injured finger and leaned weakly against Milo Ju, as if she might collapse at any moment. Milo Ju held her tenderly in his arms, then turned to warn me fiercely. Zoe Shen, there are still 29 days left. Don't push my limits. If you dare play dirty tricks behind my back, it will only bring shame to the Shen family. After Milo Ju left with Nora Lynn in his arms, Leo Ju ignored the gossipy glances from the nurses in the corridor, and looked down at my pale face. Zoe, are you sure you want to go through with this? I had endured the car accident and the betrayal all by myself without shedding a single tear. Yet at this simple show of concern my nose instantly stung. With sorrow, I tilted my head up, my gaze resolute. Senior, arrange the surgery for me. Make it as discreet as possible. Leo Ju said no more persuasion and nodded heavily. 2 days later, under Leo Ju's personal arrangement, I lay quietly on the operating table. The moment the anesthetic was injected into my vein, I seemed to watch the young man who once knelt among roses to propose to me, shatter into dust completely. After the surgery, I cut off all contact with Milo Ju, unilaterally. The old Zoe Shen, who would frantically call him if he came home 10 minutes late, seemed to have died right there in the operating room. A week later, Milo Ju came back to our marital house reeking of alcohol, bringing Nora Lynn along. He led her straight toward the master bedroom as if he owned the place. As soon as he pushed the door open, he caught me coming out of the shower, buttoning up my silk pajamas. Perfect timing. I brushed my half-dry long hair over my shoulder, revealing my fair collarbone. This button is a bit tight. Anyone want to help me? The air turned deathly silent in an instant. Milo just subconsciously let go of Nora Lynn's hand, strode over and fastened the last button for me. I forced a polite smile and said thank you. Milo Ju suddenly snapped back to his senses and turned to Nora Lynn outside the door. Nora, go downstairs and make me a hangover soup. Nora Lynn bit her lip, twisted her fingers in grievance, and reluctantly went downstairs. The bedroom door closed. Milo Ju suddenly stepped forward, pinning me against the wardrobe door. Dark fire surged in his eyes as he stared fixedly at my overly sensual silk pajamas. Zoe Shen, dressing like this in the middle of the night, who are you trying to seduce? Liu Ju? So the distinguished chief physician likes picking up other men's leftovers. Seduce? Staring at my reflection in the mirror, I let out a cold laugh and pushed him away hard. Are you going to meet Liu Ju or not? Seeing me stay silent, Milo Ju grew increasingly agitated. It was not until Nora Lynn's startled cry downstairs as she dropped a porcelain bowl that he had no choice but to let me go. I smoothed the creases on my pajamas unhurriedly and let out a mocking snort. Mr. Ju, having an affair in your own house must be thrilling, isn't it? Sister Zoe, you look so beautiful in this outfit. Do you have a date? I didn't expect you to get over things so quickly. Nora Lynn had appeared at the bedroom door at some point, looking hesitant to speak. Milo Ju clenched his fist, seemingly wanting to warn me again. Just then my phone rang. I answered it, my tone unusually soft and sweet. I'm coming down. Right now, why the hurry? Watching my back leave without the slightest hesitation, Milo Ju's face turned dark enough to drip with fury. He watched me open the door of a red Ferrari, get into the passenger seat, and drive off into the distance. I did not come home that night. It was not until the next afternoon that I pushed open the front door in high heels, carrying several luxury shopping bags. As soon as I entered the hallway, I was startled by the man sitting on the sofa with a dark expression. Milo Ju had sunken eye sockets and faint stubble on his chin, clearly having stayed up all night. He stared at me through gritted teeth. Zoe Shen, I know exactly what you've been doing behind my back. Suppressed rage rumbled in his hoarse voice, as if he wanted to bore a hole right through me with his gaze. I do plenty of things every day. Which one are you referring to? I kicked off my high heels casually, and Milo Ju's expression turned even livid. Who were you with last night? His accusatory manner, as if catching me cheating, disgusted me deeply, and I retorted bluntly, it's none of your business. Seeing me heading back to my room, Milo Ju stood up abruptly and snapped sharply. Zoe Shen, this is my final warning. Keep your friends in line and stop harassing Nora. My patience has limits. I immediately realized what he was talking about. Eleanor Sue had a fiery temper. Yesterday afternoon she marched straight into Milo Ju's company, slapped evidence proving Nora Lynn had plagiarized other painters' works right in front of all the senior executives, and scolded Nora Lynn until she broke down in tears on the spot, becoming the laughingstock of the entire company. For that, I only wanted to applaud Eleanor Sue. What? Dare to be a homewrecker and a plagiarist, yet can't stand being talked about. I looked coldly at the on the verge of losing control Milo Ju. It's not just you. My patience has run out too. This villa is registered under my name. A lock replacement company will come at 5 this afternoon. You 3 hours to pack up your belongings and get out with this shameless pair. With that, I slammed the bedroom door shut and locked it from inside. When I changed clothes and came out, the living room was already empty. A few days later, Eleanor Sue called me excitedly, saying there was an extremely high-standard business school alumni gathering that weekend, with all our senior schoolmates attending. I originally planned to refuse, but Eleanor Sue assured me confidently that Milo Ju was on a business trip out of town and would definitely not show up. Only then did I agree to go. Yet life is full of absurd coincidences. On the night of the alumni gathering, the moment I stepped into the banquet hall of the 5-star hotel, I ran straight into Milo Ju and Nora Lynn. Now he openly let Nora Lynn hang onto his arm, showing off their affection right in front of the old professors who once taught us. It was undoubtedly a public slap in my face. Nora Lynn wore an ostentatious evening gown, throwing triumphant and provocative glances at me from time to time. At this sight, several socialites who had always envied me immediately gathered around with champagne glasses, speaking in sour, mocking tones. Oh my, isn't this Zoe Shen? Back then, Mr. G, you would risk everything for you. How did you end up being driven out of the house now? Exactly. A woman can never truly hold a man's heart after all. You wasted 5 years of your youth for nothing, what a pity. Just as I was about to splash the red wine in my glass all over their faces, a tall figure stepped in front of me, Orion Huo, once the most prominent figure in the business school, and now a top tycoon in the investment banking circle, naturally draped his arm over my shoulder, his voice deep and gentle. Sorry I'm late, Zoe. A cross-border meeting held me up. Have you been waiting long? I leaned into him opportunistically and smiled brightly. I just arrived too, Senior. Orion Hu's appearance instantly stirred a commotion in the banquet hall. After all, he was known as an untouchable cold perfectionist in the circle. Senior. Whoa, are you and Zoe Shen together now? Someone couldn't help gossiping aloud, drawing a low chuckle from Orion Huo, whose eyes were filled with indulgence as he looked at me. Before Orion Huo could reply, an accident happened suddenly. Before Orion Huo could even turn around, someone charged over from behind and punched him hard, sending him staggering back 2 steps. Gasps broke out among the crowd. Milo Ju, have you lost your mind? Milo Ju's eyes were bloodshot, veins bulging on his forehead, like a feral beast out of control. He pointed furiously at Orion Huo, yet his gaze was fixed firmly on me. Zoe Shen is my wife. Who do you think you are to touch her? You're asking for death. Milo Ju grabbed Orion Huo by the collar, ready to throw a second punch. I stepped forward with a cold expression and slapped Milo Ju hard across the face. Milo Ju, do you have a manic disorder? Who is your wife? Get a grip, we're about to get our divorce certificate soon. He was the one who wanted the divorce. He was the one who gave me the cold shoulder for his mistress. He was the one who brought his new lover to the alumni gathering to humiliate me. Now why was he playing the overprotective husband and meddling in my social life? Zoe Shen, you hit your own husband for this, man. Milo Ju stared in disbelief at the hand I had pushed him away with, letting out an absurdly bitter laugh. Have you forgotten we haven't officially divorced yet? Until the certificate is issued, you, Zoe Shen, are still my legal wife. What's wrong with me punching the adulterer who seduces my wife? The divorce cooling off period was truly a damnable rule. I was about to retort when Nora Lin, who had been hiding behind, suddenly rushed out. Looking utterly distraught, she grabbed Milo Ju's sleeve while crying, Brother. Milo, I didn't want to say anything at first for fear of hurting you. But seeing Sister Zoe shamelessly cuckolding you in public, I can't stand by any longer. Nora Lin turned to face the shocked alumni all around and cried out loudly, Brother. Milo, Zoe Shen never intended to live a good life with you. A few days ago I saw her go to the hospital for an abortion accompanied by Liu Ju. In her twisted account, I became a wanton woman, unable to contain her loneliness, indulging in affairs during marriage, and cruelly aborting an illegitimate child. She even insinuated to Milo Ju that I had readily agreed to the divorce because I had long been entangled with Liu Ju, Orion Huo, and others, eager to find someone to take responsibility for my child. A man's pride could never withstand such provocation of being cuckolded. Sure enough, Milo Ju's eyes turned bloodshot instantly. He gripped my shoulders tightly, his voice trembling and breaking. Is what Nora Lin said true? Did you abort our child? 1 second, 2 seconds. The entire hall fell dead silent. I looked at Milo Ju coldly. I watched the rage in his eyes gradually give way to fear, panic, and heart-wrenching agony. Zoe Shen, say something. I'll believe you if you deny it. Tell me you didn't abort the child we'd been waiting 5 years for. The always calculating, arrogant President Ju now wore an almost humble look of entreaty. Even the socialites who had just been waiting to laugh at me couldn't bear to look on any longer and turned their heads away. Unfortunately, belated affection is cheaper than weeds. I brushed his hand away coldly, a cruel curve tugging at the corner of my mouth. Nora Lin wasn't lying. I did go to the obstetrics and gynecology department, and I did go through with the surgery. Milo Ju, do you want to know what the doctor said? The doctor told me the embryo had developed perfectly was already a fully formed baby boy. Once upon a time, Milo Ju, you loved lying against my belly, daydreaming about our future. Zoe, if we have a daughter as beautiful as you, I'd give her my whole life. If it's a son, I'll teach him boxing, and the 2 of us will protect you together. At the mention of the word boy, Milo Ju's pupils dilated in utter shock. His tall frame seemed drained of all strength in an instant, and he stumbled back 3 unsteady steps. Nora Lynn hurried forward to support him, only to be instinctively shoved away hard by Milo Ju. She fell heavily beside the champagne tower, looking utterly disheveled and embarrassed. Before Nora Lynn could get up, I walked over to her in my high heels and slapped her hard across the face with a sharp crack. Dazed from the slap, Nora Lynn clutched her cheek and screamed, "Zoe Shen, what right do you have to hit me?" Right after, I slapped her other cheek without hesitation. What right? For stirring up trouble and jumping around like a flea in front of me. Didn't you scheme desperately to drive him crazy? I've given you exactly what you wanted, why play the wronged victim now? Her dirty schemes laid bare in public. Nora Lynn shot me a venomous glare before instantly putting on her pitiful act again. She threw herself forward and hugged Milo Ju's legs, bursting into tears. Brother. Milo, it's my fault for talking too much. Sister Zoe was right to hit me. Please don't blame her. This clumsy performance didn't anger me at all. Instead, it made several female alumni watching on laugh in disgust. Someone spoke out with open mockery. Mr. Ju, your little lover's tactics are far too amateurish. Everyone here knows how high Zoe Shen's standards once were. If she'd really wanted to play around back then, she'd never have settled for a poor nobody like you. In terms of family background and talent, Senior Orion Huo is miles ahead of you. Exactly. Milo Ju cheated on his wife and forced a divorce all on his own. Yet now he puts on this act of deep affection, trying to have it both ways. You've ruined this alumni gathering. Take your mistress and leave quickly. When a wall crumbles, everyone joins in pushing it down. Over our 5 years of university, my family had supported countless alumni with money and resources, and everyone knew it well. Bombarded with undisguised disdain and criticism, Nora Lynn, who had always been coddled and spoiled, had never endured such humiliation. She trembled all over with rage. Brother. Milo there. Before she could finish, Milo Ju cut her off hoarsely. Shut up. To Nora Lynn's stunned disbelief, Milo, gee, you didn't even glance at her. He walked straight toward me, grabbed my wrist tightly, his voice filled with desperate obsession. Zoe Shen, let's talk privately. Please. Milo Ju's grip was brutal, as if he meant to crush my bones. Let go of her. Orion Hu's expression turned icy. No longer holding back, he stepped forward and grabbed Milo Ju by his tie. The 2 men immediately began to brawl fiercely. One was a fitness-trained investment banking elite, the other a tech tycoon driven out of his mind. Every blow they exchanged was ruthless and landed hard. The scene spiraled completely out of control. The hotel manager panicked and immediately called the police. Half an hour later, we were giving statements at the police station. Since it was a mutual scuffle with no serious consequences, the police gave them a stern warning before letting us go. To prevent further conflict, Milo Ju was ordered to stay behind for another half hour. Orion Huo wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, looking full of apology. Zoe, I'm sorry I lost my temper tonight. I shook my head and handed him a tissue. I'm the one who should apologize, Senior. I got you hurt because of me. Seeing I held no blame toward him, Orion Huo let out a quiet breath of relief. He drove me back to my villa. Before I got out of the car, he looked at me deeply. Zoe, I hesitated one step too late back then and let him take you away. Now may I pursue you again? I don't want to take advantage of your vulnerable moment, but I can't bear to miss you a second time. You're braver and more dazzling than I ever imagined. Faced with Orion Huo's straightforward and heartfelt confession, I fell silent for a moment before answering earnestly. Senior, I've just come out of a terrible relationship. I don't have the energy to start another one right now. Thank you for standing up for me tonight. Orion Huo was an extremely poised and considerate man. He smiled gently. It's all right. I can wait. Rest well, good night. Back home, I took a hot bath, poured a glass of ice water from the wine cabinet, and drank it all in one gulp. The cold liquid slid down my throat. I let out a long sigh and curled my lips into a relaxed smile. My phone lit up with a new friend request. The note only had 3 words, Attica Shung. I froze for a moment before recalling who he was. The A-list celebrity who once worked part-time at my gallery and was later discovered by a talent scout, shooting instantly to stardom. I sent Eleanor Sue a voice message, utterly speechless. Sure enough, this money-grubbing best friend had sold my WeChat contact just to get 2 front-row VIP concert tickets. Come on Zoe, Atticus Shang is a top-tier star now, always thinking about his sister Zoe. You. Re-single soon anyway, why not enjoy a little younger brother's thoughtfulness? I ignored my greedy best friend and soon a message from Atticus Shang popped up. Sister, are you free this weekend? I still owe you a meal from my part-time days at the gallery. Can you give me a chance to make it up? Back when Atticus Shang was a poor student, he often ate for free at my gallery. Now that he was a superstar, I certainly wasn't going to turn down his treat to a fancy dinner. Learning I was going to meet Atticus Shang, Eleanor Sue laughed mischievously over the phone, saying my single life was absolutely perfect. I neither confirmed nor denied it. Before being trapped by Milo Ju's so-called fortress of security, I had always been the unrestrained, bold young lady of the Shen family with friends all over the place. Now those chains had finally shattered. The next day I received a video call from my father overseas. The old man wore a stern expression, his tone severe. Zoe Shen, you insisted on following Milo Ju wholeheartedly 5 years ago. Now all of a sudden you want a divorce. Do you treat marriage like a game? I listened quietly, tears glistening in my eyes as I lowered my head, looking wronged. My mother immediately softened with sympathy and quickly nudged Father Shen. Don't be so harsh. Zoe, Milo called to apologize to us. He said he's already sent that painter away. Can't you give him another chance for old time's sake? Double quotes, Mom. I cut her off, eyes red, and told them everything plainly. How Milo Gu had turned off his phone and vanished for 3 days, to watch the aurora with his mistress while I lay seriously injured in a car accident, facing the risk of losing my hearing. A deathly silence fell on the other end of the video. After a long while, Father Shen slammed his palm heavily on the table. He's gone too far. No one gets to treat my daughter like this. Divorce immediately. I'll book you a flight ticket right away and come pick you home. Thank you, Dad. Remember to book first class. My expression changed instantly. I smiled sweetly, sending him a heart gesture. The 1-month divorce cooling-off period finally ended. Tomorrow was the day to collect our divorce papers at the Civil Affairs Bureau. I was about to send Milo Ju a location to confirm the time when the doorbell suddenly rang. Opening the door, I saw Milo Ju standing haggardly outside. He'd lost a great deal of weight, his eye sockets sunken deep. He clutched a bouquet of my favorite white avalanche roses tightly in his hands, as if clinging to his last lifeline. Zoe, can I come in? I stepped aside to let him in. He walked into the living room, spotted the leftover instant noodle boxes on the coffee table, rolled up his sleeves familiarly, and headed into the kitchen. Half an hour later, a fragrant bowl of tomato and egg noodles was placed in front of me. Back when Milo Ju was struggling the most with his startup, he couldn't even afford to take me to a nice restaurant. It was this very bowl of noodles that had won my heart. Leaning against the kitchen island, I looked at him coldly. What act are you putting on now, Mr. Ju? Milo Ju's Adam's apple bobbed. He forced an ugly, humble smile. Your stomach is delicate. Don't keep eating instant food. Finish the noodles first, then we can talk, all right? I picked up the bowl without hesitation and ate every last bite. I'm done eating. 10 tomorrow morning at the Civil Affairs Bureau. Don't be late. At those words, the last glimmer of light in Milo Ju's eyes faded completely. He stepped forward abruptly, his voice thick with desperate pleading. Zoe, I don't want a divorce. I'm sorry, I truly. No, my mistake. I can't stop thinking about you. I can't live without you at all. I looked at him with mockery. Can't live without me? Milo Ju, the world is huge. No one is irreplaceable. Sign the papers with dignity, it's better for both of us. He knew perfectly well about my recent contact with Orion Huo and Atticus Shang, and what it implied. These past days he'd locked himself in his office like a madman, unable to understand why the Zoe Shen who once had eyes on life for him had resolutely aborted their child and turned her back without a second thought to walk into someone else's arms. Zoe Shen, Did you ever love me at all? Were you only used to me obeying you? Milo Jew covered his face in collapse, sobbing in agony. What did I do wrong? I only made the same mistake every man makes. It was just 1 month. Yet you denied all our 5 years together and even ended our child's life. Zoe Shen, how could you be so cruel? Our 5 years together were never a joke. I never regretted marrying you. I walked up to him, looking down at his broken face. I pried his fingers loose one by one as he clung tightly to my skirt. Then I smiled at him gently, yet cruelly. Milo, does hearing that make you feel a little better? Don't cry. It's just a divorce. You still have your business empire and Nora Lynn who worships you like a god. You're still the lofty President Jew, too. Kill a person's spirit is the cruelest blow of all. Hearing me speak the most heartless words in the softest tone, Milo Jew froze on the spot as if struck by lightning. Zoe Shen ... Do you hate me that much? No. I shook my head, my gaze icy to the extreme. You're not even worthy of my hatred anymore. Just then, Milo Jew's phone vibrated frantically, with Nora Lynn's name flashing on the screen. I stepped back and gestured for him to answer it. Milo Jew answered the call with trembling hands. On the other end, Nora Lynn screamed hysterically, threatening to jump off the rooftop of her art studio if he didn't. Come right away. Milo Jew stared straight at me, then said coldly into the phone. I've gone back to my wife. If you wanna die, don't dirty my studio. With that, he smashed his phone to the ground. He suddenly dropped to his knees in front of me, clinging tightly to my legs, his tears soaking through the hem of my dress. Zoe, I've loved you for 7 years. Do you have any idea how much losing that child hurt me? You once said Milo Jew was the person protected by Zoe Shen. You can't break your word. You can't just abandon me like this. I looked coldly at his utterly humble, groveling appearance. I lifted my leg and kicked him ruthlessly onto the floor. The sharp heel of my high heel pressed lightly over his heart. I looked down at him as if staring at a pile of trash. There are plenty of people I choose to protect as Zoe Shen. You brought this on yourself by being insatiable. Who else can you blame? The next day, Milo Jew did not show up at the Civil Affairs Bureau. He had gotten into a serious car accident after speeding and drinking late at night, and was sent to the ICU. Mrs. Gu came running to me in floods of tears, begging me to go to the hospital to see him and reignite his will to live. I had the security guards escort her away. A week later, Eleanor Sue invited me for afternoon tea, and filled me in on the latest gossip. With Milo Jew in the hospital and no one leading the company, its stock prices plummeted, and it's now facing a hostile takeover. As for that Nora Lynn who threatened to jump off the building, no one paid her any attention. She slipped and fell down the steps by herself, damaging her spine. She'll probably spend the rest of her life in a wheelchair. Oh really? I stirred the coffee in my cup casually, completely indifferent to the fates of these worthless people. Eleanor Sue leaned over curiously, glancing at the new message popping up on my phone. Teska little brother Atticus Sheng is asking you to an art exhibition again? Did you accept the Paytech Philippe Sr. Orion Huo sent you? Young Miss Shen, your love pond is really getting crowded. Stop talking nonsense. I locked my phone screen and leaned lazily back in my chair. I turned to look out the floor-to-ceiling window. The sun was bright, and the breeze was gentle. What a lovely day today. This story warns us, ***, love needs boundaries. Give wisely, and never forgive betrayal ***. The wife spent 5 years and her family's resources to lift her husband from poverty to success. Yet he cheated, forced a divorce for his mistress, and ignored her when she was critically injured in a car crash. Waking up, she let go decisively, ended the marriage, gave up the baby, took back her assets, and fought back calmly. The cheating man and his mistress got what they deserved. It proves true happiness never comes from relying on others. Self-respect and taking control of your life matter most. Knowing when to stop is the wisest choice. Don't look back on misplaced love. Love yourself. And shine on your own.